When it comes to cutting and pasting, you're actually moving the contents or parts of a cell. Depends on what you have selected. So for example, if I come up here, double click in the cell, and I select, let's say, Feb, click and drag, and I do Control X, that's the shortcut key for cutting. Or you can come up here on the Home tab in the Clipboard group and click on the pair of scissors. That will also cut. And then of course you can see the shortcut there, Control X. Once I cut it, I can go ahead and click in another cell and Control V as in Victor to paste it. Or I can go ahead and double click in a cell, hit the space key, and add it in addition to the other contents within the cell by, again, Control V as in Victor to paste. I'm not going to leave that there, so I'm going to hit the escape key to back out and revert it back to its original contents there. In fact, that looks pretty horrible. Ruary. Let me hit undo several times here so it's back to the way it was. So let me go ahead and hit the delete key here and delete totals here. So if I came up here, Control X to cut it, it gives me the marching ants, just as we learned when it came to copying. So not only do you not know if it's in copy mode, because it also gives us the marching ants for cutting mode, you won't find out here until you come down here and you use the shortcut Control V as in Victor to paste and realize, whoops, it actually was the cut feature. It cut out that cell, the contents I had selected, and moved it down here when I pasted it. Let me go ahead and hit undo. Thank goodness for the undo button. And then hit the escape key on the keyboard. So again, cutting will actually cut the contents of the cell, either part of it or a range or just a cell, and actually move it to the place that you paste it into. You can also cut entire columns and rows, just like we did with copying. So if I come up here, hover over the column header, click on it, that little black arrow is pointing down so it selects the whole column. I can go ahead and right click and select or left click on cut, and then come over here and I can right click on a column header. And what's interesting about pasting when it comes to cutting is that you can insert the cut cells as opposed to pasting them. When you paste it, it pastes over the entire column. So if I had anything in that column, it would paste over it. So let me click off in a blank area here. So let me choose one that actually has something in it. So if I right click on this one, I select paste, total disappears and it pasted over it. As opposed to, let me go ahead and hit the undo key. The marching ants are still there, so it's still in cut mode. If I go ahead and I right click on that column and I choose insert cut cells, when I click on insert, it actually inserts a new column and pushes the column that I was on over one. So it's inserting a new column. So that way I don't overwrite the column. I've actually inserted it in between. Well, if I go ahead and hit undo, it was in between G and H, but when I insert and I right click, insert cut cells, well, it's got that extra column, so now this is between F and H. In any case, let me go ahead and hit undo, and then hit the escape key to get rid of the marching ants. And then, now that we know how to move our data by cutting and pasting it, if we need to move it from one cell or one range to another, you can also move contents around by simply selecting it and hovering over the border. And when you get that four-way arrow, all you have to do is go ahead and click and drag, and you will move the entire contents of that cell or range of cells, if you selected an entire range, to wherever you let go. Okay, let me hit undo. You can go ahead and select an entire range, hover over the selection's border, get the four-way arrow. Again, we're looking for the four-way arrow, not the white cross, not the black cross, the autofill handle in the lower right-hand corner. So avoid those two other crosses, the white and the black, get the four-way arrow and click and drag and move it. Okay. So if it's within the range that you can view here, it's easy to click and drag, but if you have to move this down to row 7000, you may not want to click and drag this and keep going down to row 100, 200, 300, 400. Oh, that takes too long. Let me hit undo. Also, if you want to make a copy of the range that you have selected, instead of copying and pasting it, just like we did when we want to move the entire range, if you hover over the border, you get your four-way arrow. This time, instead of clicking and dragging, hold down the control key first, and notice that my four-way arrow turns into a little plus black sign. If you go ahead and you click and drag with that control key held down, and you can see that I still got my little plus sign, it's a little black plus sign, let go of the mouse, it'll actually not just move, but create a copy of it, hence the plus sign. It's in addition to what you have here that you're moving over here, you're moving a copy of it. Let me go ahead and hit undo. Of course, you can select even a single cell and control click on the border, and Let go of the mouse and we just created a copy of it by clicking and dragging and holding down our Control key. Thanks for watching. Hey, as a quick reminder, if you like my video, please give it a thumbs up. You can also click on me and subscribe to my channel, get notified of the latest videos, and for only $2 a month, you can have access to all my Microsoft Office training videos.